To find the code of this, you have to watch the last bit of the video. Hello, this video today is going to tell you what it is like at the World of Tanks 2013 Tankfest. I went there on Saturday 29th June. Most of you living in America or other parts of the world wouldn't have been to this place because it's in Bovington, which is in Dorset, England. But I will show you this video so that you lot can share the same experience as I did in Bovington yesterday. If you want to know what happened in Tankfest 2013, please watch the rest of this video, as I'm going to show you what's happening. Then and you'll make up your mind whether you're gonna go there next year. Okay. At the entrance of the museum, there was lumps, and on one of them stood a centurion, as you see in the image right now. This is not that well maintained because, as you might see, that there's bugs on, and not many people paid attention to this centurion on the side of the museum entrance. Okay, this is what it looks like inside the museum with the field, and you see that people are digging out trenches and good stuff. They have a few German tanks and a few Russian tanks out here. Like this one is a T-34-85 that fought in Manchuria during the unknown campaign, in which in the last few days of the war the Russians used a blitzkrieg on the northeastern of China to defeat the Japanese and conquer and capture North Korea. And this is a tank from that place. As you see, the reenactors are showing people what their guns are like and stuff, good things like that. And they have a few displays going on. Background information is told on the command center in the museum, and basically they trying to act what would happen if this happens and what tanks is used and things like that. Basically, they give you a basic idea of what's happening in modern tank battlefield. In this picture, I was trying out the American-built Thompson. The man behind was happy to let me have a go of it. It is absolutely fantastic. Bit heavier than I was expecting it to be, because I saw it was a submachine gun. But overall, you know, they let you have a go of the machine gun. They were real guns. I mean real guns. Well, I certainly don't see that they're fake, because you know the magazine, they put real bullets in there. And in these pictures now, you see these tanks all lined up on the ground are ready to go on the show in the afternoon. They were absolutely hot. If you touch them, if you sit on them, you know, I can certainly cook your ass. Right now they brought in the World War I tanks. Those two, the AV7 and A7V, sorry, and the English built the Mark IV or Mark 8. I'm not very sure about that, but you know, you can check on that yourself. They had paratroopers parachuting down. I will show you the video right after I finished my sentence here. Well, you know, in the field they have many shops. You can buy your souvenirs. I bought myself a bullet for £1. They sell BB guns. They sell gas masks. They sell tank models, tank toys, the remote control tanks that are the size of a little boy. You know, very expensive, but the BB guns are quite cheap. This paratrooper landed here. They were well trained. They took a plane. They came into the display area. My camera's a bit dirty. Well, you can see that the 4 paratroopers, including one woman, had the Union Jack. They came down. It's a brilliant show by the Tankfest 2013. It's well organized. They had a lot of things going on, loads of action. I mean, I can live there for 3 days just looking at those tanks. And they had this sort of show, very good to see. But just before the tank came, they had the paratroopers, they had the helicopters, they sent in all sorts of things. The first just the second just landed here. Oh yeah, good landing. They had commentators going on in the background. I think does he work in the BBC or something? You can tell me in the comments. But he's certainly really familiar. As in his voice is really familiar to me. I think I seen him on the TV. I think I heard him on TV. Fabulous show they had. Absolutely amazing. I think this is Lieutenant Carol, was it? I think this was the woman or something. Well, basically, she's trying to do something special for the audience to see. Land on the small lump here. Brilliant show. Right now they brought in all the modern tanks. You can hear the sound of the engine. Apparently this machine is 80 tons, whatever you say it. They had not the Churchill, the Challenger 2. They came in and reenactors came out of the infantry fighting vehicle. They shot the insurgents, and they had a background story of what's happened. It's a good show. This happened in the morning, as you see here. They just retrieved the vehicle that was broken down. As you see, this IFV infantry fighting vehicle went to protect the crew to pick to allow the recovery vehicle to pick up the broken tank in the battlefield, and they were able to come home safe. They had a very good story. They had commentator on the speakers, as you may hear. And those machines were absolutely loud compared to the World War I tanks. It was such a big difference, especially the Challenger 2, massive engine power. As you see, they allow you to go very close. I think 10 meters away from. I was 10 meters away from the tanks. You probably couldn't even hear my sound over those war machines coming past. Very good, And this is only the start of what you're gonna see. Later on, they're gonna bring out other tanks. Just keep on watching. I will show all of them to you. Here is the mighty German beast, the Tiger 1. If you're playing World Tanks and you've seen this on the internet, that's the Tiger 2, the Tiger 1 you've seen on the World Tanks official website. The Panda 3 I was looking into. All of these tanks lined up here. I'll go into the show in the afternoon. The Panda 3, as you see, is fairly good, but compared to the Tiger, massive difference. The Tiger is much bigger in size, and as you see, the tank was well maintained by the museum. What do you call them, people? The museum workers or people who worked there. They maintained all these tanks really well. They were in good condition. Some of them were they were recovered by individuals that were devoted to reconstruct the broken tank and fix it again, and some of them did that for the museum in years. It took them years to do it. And they had Canadian Leopards. They're German Leopards, and this is Type 59. This Type 59 is actually built in China, but it's how it got here is quite fantastic to know. This Type 59 is actually painted in Russian paint because in the afternoon they're going to do the Cold War, so China this tank has to represent the Russian T-54. They don't have enough operational tanks to show them, so you know they just paint this into Russian colors, so it can be shown in the display in the afternoon. The Type 59 is upgraded in the 80s to the 90s to deliver them to Iran and Iraq. So they basically China at the time couldn't make the tank better, so they had to give it to the British Royal Ordnance to upgrade it in England, and so the museum kept one. This Megatron is the newest tank in the museum. The Challenger 2, you can see many modern features. The coolest tank in the whole museum, probably the most modern one. This one is absolutely good. The Tiger 2, this one has a stock turret. This is the second prototype built in Germany. I don't know how they got hold of this, but you see it's really good. They have two of those. The M36, I believe, I think this is the Jackson or the Slugger. Well, there's two names of them, you know. On the American service, it's the Slugger. On the British server, on the EU server, it's called the Jackson. The Yak Panther here, you see the painting is quite cool, and the size compared to the heads is like one is the rat, one is the cat. The panda one they have here. They have panda 3. They have loads of different tanks. Tiger 2, with the improved turret, as you see, different from the one before. Different vehicles, British ones, many. I strongly recommend you to come here. This picture shows the true size of the Tiger too. If you compare to the similar tanks of the same time, you know the difference between German engineering and other countries' tank engineering capabilities. The KV-1, this one was sent to Britain to be evaluated. I don't know how they and why they sent it to the Royal Ordnance, but it came here. It says in Russian from Leningrad, a woman from Leningrad or something. The Japanese tank there was captured in Malaya. This one's Black Prince, and the Patton, I believe. This one fought in the Korean War. General Patton, M46. If you're American, then there's plenty of American. This one's the British Independent. It's called. Many tanks. I even ran out of camera SD card space. I need to get myself a new memory card. Maybe 8 GB or 16 GB SD card. There's so many tanks I couldn't fill them up, and I had to delete some. As you see, the size of the Top 2 is massive. It's an absolutely good machine. Jingles, he bought this with Quickie Baby. They will play it on their live stream. Inside the Tog, you see this quite a large space compared to some other tanks. The philosophy, they have a few of the extreme tanks which you would never see in other museums. For example, the Tortoise and many of those sort of tanks. The Yak Tiger, I couldn't believe I saw that there. They have so many of this sort of tanks, the Leopards, the Centurions, there's so many of them. They even had some of the Soviet T-55, T-54 and T-62 here. And if you see this guns, many of you would wonder, some of the guns, they have lines twisted inside them, and some don't. The ones don't are more modern, because the ones with lines, it's like throwing a rugby ball. You want the ball to spin, so it's more stabilized to travel in the air and hits the target more accurately. But in scientific theory, that it can only reach a certain velocity, so scientists had to come up with the idea, and they ended up firing a shell that had tails, wings on it, which guided it and stabilized the shell to hit the tank. That's a bit of information for you. The Panther, they had in the previous picture they had the Churchill Mark 7. This one's the Type 58, which was built in Czechoslovakia, but used by the Chinese in the Korean War, but captured by the British, I believe. And here's the final display of the day, the Cold War bit. At this time of the day, I ran out of space in my camera and I had to delete some of the old videos I recorded, like the Challenger 2 video, which I deleted before filming this. And here in the field, they drove in all the what they call the Soviet, the Warsaw Pact forces. They're not very accurate, like this one's using the British gun, and they're just trying to make it sort of fairly realistic. They don't have enough of those operational tanks that can actually be driven, so they only brought out a few of the Warsaw Pact. Some were built in Slovakia. uh, I certainly want to go to the museum uh, in Moscow called Kubinka Tank Museum. They have the mouse. I want to see that, and the object. I can't remember which one it was. It looks like a UFO. Yeah, I really want to see that. But it's quite far. If you lot are in Russia watching this, then Privyet. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means hello in Russian. In this museum, if you're American, I mean, for any of you, if you are interested in tanks, then you should really check this place out. It's really good. Even if it's not like tankfest, there's still enough things to look at for the day. Plenty to look at. I just scanned some of the old tanks which I wasn't interested in. They had like the B1, the B1, yeah, B1, and loads of those. Even French tanks, they have loads of those. They had the Little Willie, which was the first tank built in the world. They had a model of the Da Vinci tank, which Da Vinci designed. Here they just, if you hear the commentary, they bring out the NATO tanks. Certainly they have more NATO tanks like the Americans and the British. So, in this play, it shows they had a more vast quantity of NATO vehicles, but in at that time, certainly the Russians outnumbered the Western by a lot. And if you hear the commentator, they said the background of this thing is that the Soviet suddenly attacks Germany, which the Allied forces had to blow up some of the bridges, and they had to cross the bridge with amphibious tanks. That's why most of the Soviet vehicles was suitable for crossing rivers. And here they're going to reenact a battle which never happened in real life, of course. This is apparently World War III, and the Soviets attacked apparently in vast quantities. They don't have a lot of tanks here, so it's actually it's actually the Allies that outnumbered the Warsaw Pact. You just have to imagine some of those. I think it's some second brigade or something that acted as the Russians in this bit. The Type 59. But in here it's actually a Warsaw Pact T-54, they said. Yeah. if you can hear the commentator, that would be better. But if you can't, I'll just tell you what's happening. Basically, the two sides fight apparently, and the NATO's call in airstrike and things like that. What happens is the Americans get defeated in the beginning by the Soviet surprise attack, the Blitzkrieg happening right now, and then of course, because it's in Bovington, the British brigade came and just totally destroyed the Russians. If you're American, don't get offended. It's only a joke.
Now, following on in this unit is the command vehicle is making its way onto the arena at the moment.
The Russian infantry fighting vehicle
senior officers would be in the back,
stays there, and behind is the infantry carrier. Very, very noisy. Although it's not as noisy as the Challenger 2, the Megatron, but still quite noisy. The Russian machine gun point. If you see here, they're actually firing empty bullets, and the British comes in attacking. You know, every single Russian just died and died and died. It's quite funny. And none of the British soldiers died on the way, which was a bit surprising, a bit unrealistic. It's really fun to watch this. They had a helicopter coming from the hills on the side to destroy the Russians. They actually planted some of the bombs into the little hill on in the middle of the display area, and here the British coming up, attacking the Soviets. But if you hear the sound of the AK-47, it's much louder than the L75, 95, L75. Well, I just couldn't remember the bullpup design. It was different, you know. At that time, the British did not have this, whatever time they actually based on, and the Soviets certainly would use the AK-74 instead of the old AK-47. In the shops, in the background, they sell loads of AK-47 models that looks very old. Costs a lot, about 100 something. They sell sniper rifle that shoots BB pellets. Fairly reasonable price. You can go there and have a look. Certainly next year's Tankfest, I hope you lot attend. It's very good, you know, just a bit hard to get there because, you know, it's in Dorset, quite far, and most of you would live in, for example, America. It would be a long journey. It's really, really fun. You watch my video and I will show you like what it's like going there, and hopefully you can know what it's like to attend. Okay, for those of you who made it this far, my friend you have given me the videos he's filmed. Well, in actual fact, I actually filmed them using his camera. So, you know, this is actually what I filmed. This Matilda is the first vehicle on the show in the display for the World War II section. It's a bit messed up. I mean, the Cold War section should come after this one. This one's about 12 or 2. Yeah, this is 2 in the afternoon, and the Cold War display was at 4. So, you know, I put it in the wrong order. But for those of you who made it this far watching my video, here comes the Valentine. You hear the machines coming towards you. They apparently, according to the commentator, the gun is less powerful than the engine. because the gun does less mental damage to the enemy than the engine sound of the, for example, tiger coming towards you. If the tiger don't even fire a gun, you will run because you know it's a tiger after all.
By a General Motors deal.
Just to let you guys know that I am making World of Tanks replays. You can check them out, and if you would like to send me your video replays to me, feel free. It's in my channel description. I have the email address. I will put it in the description below as well. This week I couldn't make any World of Tanks replay video because you know, I've been to Bovington and I don't have enough time to make the World of Tanks video anymore this week, and you know, I just don't have enough resources to gather them up. This steward is coming in. It's surprisingly noisy compared to the other two tanks. For example, the Valentine and the Matilda. This one's much more noisier. It's surprisingly big. I expected it to be a bit smaller than this, but again, it's good to see it here.
It became so useful they would operate anywhere where wheeled vehicles couldn't go. They were particularly popular on the Russian front. They take a single driver, as you can see at the front there, and then they would take two more men sitting with their backs to him, facing backwards.
For those of you who want to know what other games I play War Thunder. Jingles got me into it, and I've played Battlefield 3 recently. Some and other games like Sleeping Dogs or something like GTA maybe, but not recently. But you know, I enjoy those type of games.
And they were the German equivalent, really, of the Jeep.
And certainly, here comes the Panzer III with the desert camel. It's quite big. Notice that this tank is not that well angled, and in later German models they tend to angle it much more. This funny one, I can't believe they actually put this as what you call a tank. It should be just called like a half-track motor or something. Here comes the Tiger, as all of you are here to see. The only operational Tiger in the world, which is in Bovington Tank Museum. It took them years to recover. I think they only done it in 2006 or 2008, was it? Well, recently, fairly recent, they actually finished this tank. And since then, in the tankfest, they all had this tank. And this is the hot spot in the whole entire exhibition. The Comet. The British used in the later stage of World War II. I mean, at that time, even the commentator says that it's not that well angled, and British tanks are like box shaped. You tend to find that a lot. But here comes the Centurion again. They have so many of those Centurions in the museum. And there will be another part 2 to this video if you want to know more. In the next video, there will be pictures and videos about the Yak Tiger and the famous the tortoise, the British tortoise. Certainly, if you're British, then is your country's state-of-art technology at that time. This one's a Middle East export version of the Centurion. is this one's newer than the others, upgraded of course to sell it in the Middle East market. And this one they actually turned it and actually showed it to everyone in this tankfest. You can see that modern tanks they tend to get for those of you who lasted this long, this is the code. The first person who gets it can redeem this for themselves.